Are you looking for an LLC business loan that reports to Dun and Bradstreet? If you are, here's a review I really want you to pay attention to. Number 10, we have Biz to Credit. Our score, 7.8 over 10. One thing we love about Biz to Credit here is that it's really a great platform, a great lender for loan options. Okay, so you have a constellation of options, and they're very generous too. You are talking about loan amounts that go from 25,000 to 6 million for your ALC. This is really cool. It doesn't really matter if your ALC is a startup or established business. It will actually get a loan that actually is midway between 25, not midway, but it's part of it's within 25 to $6 million. Okay, and business credit is really also less flexible. I would say less strict, rather, right? Less strict when it comes to credit score. So they will actually consider you from 575. So this is really good. So we love business credit a lot for your ALC. So if your ALC needs a term loan, a term business loan, a working capital business loan, or a commercial real estate, business credit will take care of you. Okay. And so here are the pros and cons here. You have pros, you have less strict qualification requirements for working capital loans. You have minimum annual revenue requirements of $100,000 for some loans. And you have a quick application approval and funding process. What about the cons? You have more stringent qualification requirements for term and CRE loans. Working capital loans require daily, weekly, or bi-monthly payments. And CRE loan approvals can take up to 30 days. Number 9, we have Funding Circle. Our score, 8 over 10. So when you think about Funding Circle, we love Funding Circle a lot because if you or your ALC is established, you've been in the industry for a while now, and 3 to 4 years, you will love Funding Circle. Their customer service is great. Here you have loan amounts for your ALC from $25,000 to $500,000. The APR is around 750 to 25%. Minimum credit score 600 to 660. Okay. By the way, boss, welcome back to the show. I really appreciate having you here. So when we have a conversation about ALC business loans that report to DNB, we want to actually focus a lot on customer service, but also loan amounts. Okay. And Funding Circle is really great because if you think about it, 25,000 to $500,000, fantastic. Okay. And Funding Circle is a direct lender specializing in small business loans since 2010. So you can see that they've been around for a while now. Okay. So here are the pros and cons. Loans up to $500,000. Funding in as little as 48 hours. No minimum annual revenue requirement. This is really great. What about the cons? You have one-time origination fee between 3 and 6%. And they want you to be, in some states, they want you to have 2 years in business. Operational history, that is, of course. Number 8, we have here TD Bank. Our score, 8.1 over 10. Now, TD Bank is kind of cool for your ALC if you are in the healthcare sector. However, they will also take care of you if you are just a regular ALC in any sector in the country. That's not a problem. And TD Bank actually uses its strong balance sheet, as a national bank to kind of help you out here. So you can see loan amounts are really consequential. You are looking at $10,000 to $5 million. Okay. The APR is not disclosed. The minimum credit score around 600 to 660. Okay. But when you think about TD Bank, you have a constellation of loans. Again, the balance sheet's there, a very hefty one. So here are the pros and cons I want you to really think about. So the TD Bank actually offers term loans, lines of credit, and SBA loans to ALCs of all walks of life, if you want to call it that way, all sectors, all economic sectors. Online application and mobile banking are possible. You have customized financing options for healthcare professionals. Okay. And what about the cons here? If you are looking for loans above $100,000, you must apply in person. You got to go to the nearest TD bank. Okay. And you must have been in business for at least 1 year. In some cases, they will waive the fee, operational requirements if you have a strong relationship on the personal level with TD. And so branches are only located in 16 states. So TD is not really a national player. So if you are looking for a national player, a national lender here, you want to look elsewhere. Number 7, we have Fundbox. Our score, 8.3 over 10. If you are looking for an LLC business loan that reports to Dun and Bradstreet and actually approves you real fast, Fundbox will actually make you really, really happy. Here you're looking at the loan amounts are lower though. Okay, you're not looking at the $500,000 or $5 million that other players have shown you, but you're looking at $1,000 to $150,000. The APR is kind of decent. We love that a lot. 4.66%. Okay, minimum credit score 550 to 600. By the way, boss, I want to quickly remind you of today's topic. We're having a conversation about the top 10 LLC business loans that report to Dun and Bradstreet. Okay, and so when you think about Fundbox is actually a lender that combines AI intelligence, artificial intelligence, with actual underwriting processes to determine the best lender, the best loan. Okay, this is kind of cool. We love that because the thing is sometimes you might have a business that is really profitable, but your credit score is kind of low. So this could penalize you with other lenders. But with Fundbox, things are really different. Okay, so you actually will receive a decision within 3 minutes. They're really fast. You have a low minimum credit score requirements. This is fantastic. And they have next day funding. Wonderful. Number 6 we have here, national funding. Our score, 8.6 over 10. So when you think about national funding, I want you to think about loan amounts that go from $5,000 to half a million. Okay, the APR for the buy rates start around 1.5%. Minimum credit score is 550 to 600. Okay, so when you think about national funding, we love the fact that they can actually fund you all the way to $500,000. You have early payoff discounts, but the thing is, they require you to pay on a daily or weekly basis. Okay, and so that's the first con. Second con is that potentially high borrowing cost, and they require gross annual sales of $250,000 a year in some states. Not in all states, but in some states they want you to have that kind of high revenue amounts. Okay, but it is what it is. So national funding, 8.6 over 10. Number 5, we have Bluevine, our score, 8.9 over 10. So when you think about, if your LLC is looking for a flexible line of credit, okay, and you want a line of credit that reports to Dun and Bradstreet, you want to go with Bluevine. Bluevine, the maximum here is $250,000, so $6,000 to $250,000. The APR is kind of decent, 6.2% minimum FICO score. They want 600 to 625. Okay, so Bluevine actually is a growing company. In the last few years, they've been growing like crazy. Okay, and we love the fact that they were very innovative. They are constantly adding new stuff. I mean, we really love that. Okay, and so if you are actually, so here are the pros and cons. If you are in operation for, let's say, 1 to 2 years, you will. If your LLC has been in existence for 1 to 2 years, you will love Bluevine. You have lines of credit up to $250,000. Okay, you have low credit score requirements, so 600 to 625. Fantastic. The only thing is, right now, Bluevine hasn't. They haven't actually launched or rolled out a mobile app for their line of credit. Okay, and there is a monthly revenue requirement that's kind of high a little bit. Okay, and the Bluevine still is struggling to actually to provide services in all 50 states because they're not available in North and South Dakota, Puerto Rico, and U.S. territories. Number 4 here we have American Express Business Blueprint. Our score, 9 over 10. This is actually a great product, okay? Especially if you're looking for an LLC line of credit that is backed by American Express. This is a great product. Now, American Express is kind of new in this industry, but in terms of financial services, they are a giant. So this is a great product because they actually started introducing this product after buying Cabbage. Okay, Cabbage was a standalone entity a couple of years ago until COVID happened and Cabbage had problems servicing their loans among other problems, and Amex agreed to repay them to actually purchase them. Okay, and so Amex Business Blueprint, 9 over 10. And here loan amounts go from $2,000 to $250,000. Okay, you have monthly fees that vary actually by the loan term. Minimum credit score 600 to 640. Okay, I want to quickly remind you, boss, of today's topic. We are still having a conversation about the top 10 LLC business loans that report to Dun and Bradstreet. Okay, and so when you think about American Express Business Blueprint, I want you to think about the pros backed by American Express. No prepayment penalties. What about the cons? monthly fees on unpaid balances, and in some cases, Amex requires you to have a personal guarantee. Okay, so this is something you need to be aware of if you want to consider this particular product. Number 3 here we have QuickBridge. Our score 9.4/10. QuickBridge is kind of cool if you're looking for a fast funder, a fast business loan for your LLC. Okay, here you're looking at loan amount to go all the way to $500,000. APR factor rate start at 1.10. Minimum credit score 580. Okay, so what we love about QuickBridge is that they actually provide LLC business loans to business owners nationwide. Okay, they actually can fund you within 48 hours. They're really fast, and we love the fact that their rates are really flexible. Okay, so you have flexible loan terms, quick application of fast funding deposited to your bank account, early payoff discounts. Those are the pros. What about the cons? Origination fees. They have low, like a loan interest may be high in some cases, and they do have a minimum annual revenue requirement in some states. So you really have to see what really works for you. Okay, very, very important. Number 2 here we have Lendio. Our score 9.6/10. So when you think about Lendio, I want you to think about a lending marketplace. Okay, they're not a direct lender, they're a business loan marketplace. Basically, they connect prospective borrowers with traditional banks and non-bank online lenders. Okay, the loan amounts here are pretty consequential. We are speaking about $500 to $5 million. This is really good, and the APRs can be as low as 3%. Okay, again, this is normal because you have a constellation. You have access to a constellation of business lenders, so your LLC is really sort of pampered here. Okay, minimum credit score 560. Okay, so you can see that this is really good because it gives access to folks who have a poor credit also to qualify. What about the pros and cons? Well, we have one single application that actually gets dispatched to 75 to 80 lenders. Okay, you have a wide variety of loan products, including term loans and lines of credit and SBA loans, also really good. And those are the pros. What about the cons? Well, some lenders charge prepayment penalties, and funding times may vary depending on the specific lender. Number 1, the best of the best. In our view, the top 10 LLC loans that report to Dun and Bradstreet on deck. Our score 9.7/10. So on deck, in our view, is kind of cool for short-term loans for your LLC. So you are looking at a loan amount that goes from $5,000 to $250,000. Okay, the APR is kind of high though. It starts around 27 to 30%. Okay, and minimum credit score is 600 to 625. So overall, I mean, OnDeck has been nearly in this industry for nearly 20 years now, and they've been kicking ass like big time. This is really good. Here you have here are the pros and cons. Pros: term loans up to $250,000, lines of credit up to $100,000. Same day funding, low minimum credit score requirements. What about the cons? $100,000 in minimum annual revenue requirement. You must have been operating for at least 1 year. In some cases, they will waive that operational history requirement for you. Okay, and they don't lend to businesses in Nevada, North Dakota, and South Dakota. So you can see that they have the same problem as Blue Vine. All right, so here you have it. Here you have the top 10. Let's really quickly go through the overview here. It's really important to understand that if your LLC is looking for a business loan that reports to Dun and Bradstreet, you got to have the right pointers, the right criteria to compare and contrast the small business loans. Okay, it's important no matter what that if you are able to pre-qualify for your LLC business loan, do it. If you can anytime you can pre-qualify, just do it. Because the thing is that even if the lender is telling you, hey, listen, we actually, we're not going to check your credit score, you just never know. Okay. But if they say you can pre-qualify soft pull without hard pull, like this is kind of cool. And you need to also think about not how much, but how you want to actually receive funds. Like, do you want to have like a direct deposit? Do you want to have like some banks will actually approve you and they'll keep the money in their own accounts. They will actually force you to open an account with them if you haven't already, so that they can monitor the funds. Okay, You also need to think about the repayment terms and flexibility. Do you have flexibility on that end? Okay. Look out for additional fees and evaluate the lender's customer support options. Okay. Are they responsive, or do they like to play games with you? When you call them, nobody's picking up the phone and you have to stay on the phone like forever. So think about that. Okay. You got to think about the types of business loans that are available for LLCs also. For example, things like term loans, lines of credit. You have invoice factoring and financing, equipment financing, and merchant cash advances. So you got to be really clear about what type of business loans you are interested in. Okay. One thing I also want to say here is that obviously your APR and other loan conditions will be better if you have a high FICO score. But even if you don't have a high FICO score, you can still qualify for a decent, and I really mean this here, a decent loan amount and decent APR. So this is really important for you to really analyze what really works for you. Okay. And it's one of those things you want to actually start always by having a conversation with the lender, by giving them a phone call, call and just making sure that you are on the same page even before you apply. Okay. And also, it's also important to understand that by actually asking your lender all questions that you have, you are basically winning the battle already, instead of you trying to be in your corner and trying to really figure things out by yourself. Let me give you a few pro tips before we close today's conversation. It's really important to understand that if you are trying to get an LLC business loan that reports to Dun and Bradstreet, make sure that you determine the type of loan that you need. I mean, earlier I gave you a few business loans that you might want to think about for your LLC. So you need to be granular. You need to be detailed. You need to be really anal about the kind of loan that you need. Okay. And you want to familiarize yourself with your credit profile. And when we talk about credit profile, we're speaking about both personal, but also business credit profile. And then what you want to do, you want to research lenders, making sure you're comfortable with their proposition in terms of fees, in terms of cost, in terms of APR, in terms of loan amounts, okay? And gather the required documents and submit a formal loan application. It's really important to understand that some business lenders, they actually have criteria that go by when it comes to LLC business loans. So depending on your lender, you might have to actually pay a lot more. But you always want to make sure, if you want to choose an LLC business loan that reports to Dun and Bradstreet, think about the lender reputation, qualification requirements, available loan amounts, underwriting and funding speed, annual percentage rate, your APR, and additional costs. Those are pointers you need to always pay attention to when comparing and contrasting lenders, okay? And in terms of where you can get an LLC business loan that reports to Dun and Bradstreet, you can contact online lenders, you can contact banks, you can contact credit unions. This is the trifecta that allows you to actually get money, okay, to get some kind of cash. And it's really important to understand that the bottom line is that you are doing your job, but you have to make sure that everybody else is comfortable with the kind of work you are doing, because at the end of the day, if you don't get an LLC business loan that reports to Dun and Bradstreet, maybe you could qualify for an LLC business line of credit. If the business loan is not working, maybe the business line of credit might be sort of a salutary in your case, okay? And another thing is, you can think about crowdfunding too. There are a lot of ways to actually raise money. Obviously, if you go through a crowdfunding, you're not going to build your Paydex score, which is the whole thing about, transactions being reported to Dun and Bradstreet, so that you can build your Paydex score. You can have a high FICO score. You can have not only a high FICO score, but also a high DB score. Very important. Thank you so much for your attention into this conversation. I want to quickly let you see right now our loan evaluation approach. We have a strong system in place when it comes to evaluating, categorizing, and listing our LLC business loans that report to Dun and Bradstreet. Check this out. All right, let's quickly recap here. Number one, on deck, 9.7 over 10. Number 2, Lendio, 9.6 over 10. Number 3, we have QuickBridge, 9.4 over 10. Number 4, we have American Express Business Blueprint, 9 over 10. Number 5, we have Bluevine, 8.9 over 10. Number 6, we have National Funding, 8.6 over 10. Number 7, we have a Fundbox, 8.3 over 10. Number 8, we have TD Bank, 8.1 over 10. Number 9, we have Funding Circle, 8 over 10. And number 10, last but not the least, we have Biz2Credit, our score, 7.8 over 10. Thank you so much for your attention. I really appreciate it. God bless you. I'll see you next time. But until then, remember, stay marvelous.